Hello, welcome to this JMeter channel. This is chapter number 5, CSV data and basic execution. My name is Antonio Jimenez. Probably it's been a while since I uploaded the last video. Some massive earthquakes here in Mexico damaged some of the equipment I have used for these videos, so that's why it took me a while to replace some of those. Well, let's go ahead for the scheduled agenda for today. The agenda for today is we're going to take a look into the CSV data files. We are going to use listeners on our script. Also, we are going to take a look into an execution, basic execution with some ramping up, steady state, and ramping down. And finally, we are going to grab the results from the JMeter script. These executions are going to be in GUI-based. The next video we're going to do executions in non-GUI or command line. But for small load execution like 10 to 20 users, it's okay if you do it from your computer. It's not a big deal. Okay, let's go to the script. This is pretty much the script that we have been using. We have the transactions, transaction number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These already are working. If you remember correctly, I'm going to disable this one. If you remember correctly, these are going to create me a flight for the to reserve and pay a flight. Okay, so if we execute it just once, we're going to execute it with the username Jojo Bean. Oh, something happened. Request response. Oh, the assertion. If you remember correctly, last video we were just talking about the assertions. We need to take a look at the assertion. Say it's Jojo. Okay. So if we execute it once again, and we need to sign in with Jojo Bean. Okay. So let's go with Jojo Bean. And we are going to have some flights reserved. I'm going to cancel all of them. I'm going to execute once again, so we can just take a look that everything was clear, and now I have reserved a flight with this user. Okay, it's done. So if we take a once again to the itinerary, we see 3 coach class tickets for Antonio Jimenez. Charge 0. Oh, that's why, because we haven't validated London to London. Well, that's up to you guys. I teach you how to create the script. You can now double check that the depart city is not the same as the arrive city. I will teach you some easy way at the end of this video, or probably in the next one. But I also want you to learn something outside the videos. Okay, I have executed once again, so we can check that. Oh, this is this is our once again the same in the same city. They arrive on the arrive city and the port city is the same once again. We are going to execute it once more time, and you will see that now it's okay because it's London to Seattle. 5,300 $360 spent on this ticket, which is okay. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to run a small load test, but for that load test, firstly, I need users. Right now I have just Jojo, but if I use Jojo, well, I am not going to do pretty much shakeout on the application. Why? Because I'm going to use one user. Probably it could handle the concurrency because it has multiple sessions, Jojo Bean, but that's not what we wanted. For example, if you want to load test a e-commerce site, you need as much usernames and passwords as possible, probably with different profiles if there are. In this case, we need different users. So we are going to create users. That's why I have some modifications in the script. If you see, besides the main thread, we have the sign up thread. This sign up thread is going to do this one. It's going to click on sign up now. It's going to fill this with information. What information is going to use? It's going to use load user. We set up a counter, username, password, first name, last name, and the address. So this is what we're going to use for signing up users. Let me run quickly some like. Let me sign up one user. I'm going to start from 21 and maximum 21. Increment 22. I'm going to start from 21, increment of 1, maximum 22. The number format is going to be 00. It means that even if there is only one digit, we're going to put a 0 to the left. The reference name is the name of the parameter. It's going to be counter. So I'm going to create one. The load user number 21 with this execution. Let me execute it. And we send the request, the post, and it's okay. It's been created. Oh, let me put in HTML so you can read it. Thank you, load user 21, for registering, blah, blah, blah. So we have registered load user 21. Let's go and take a look if it works. Load user 21, password is password, and voila, we have user 21. Okay, so usually or regularly, I prefer when the people ask me to do a load test, sign up my own test data, sign up my own users data. I prefer to do it because I can sign up different profiles, different users, different data. Sometimes they grab me the data from database. I prefer to set up my own data if it's possible. If it's not, well, we can use data mining and go on. But it entirely depends on you and your application. If you can do it, my strong recommendation is to do it, to sign up your own test data. And even it's kind of part of the flow. Probably it's a critical flow or business flow. Sign up some users. We're going to also modify a little bit the script to send some users to find flights. Some users are going to reserve it. Some are going to pay. And some others are going to take a look on the itinerary. Some of them also are going to sign up. Okay. Now, let's create the data file that we're going to use it. So what else we're going to use? We're going to use username, password, first name, last name, and address. Why the address? Because when we pay, we need to put an address. Okay, even first name and last name. So probably this is going to be very repetitive. I mean the data for now, but I mean when you finish or create your own test data, you can do whatever you want. Okay, the users are load user 01, 02, 03. I'm going to copy and paste, do it quickly. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 20 B users. So okay, 20 B users. We're going to put some commas at the end, and the rest of the data is going to be repetitive. Password. First name is I think is load user. Let me double check. Is load test. Load test. Load test. And then the address. Evergreen. Evergreen 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably all that we need. We need zip. I don't think we need zip. Probably we can use it in address number 2, but yes, address number 2. We're going to use it. So address number 2 is zip. Okay, there you go. Oh, sorry. There you go. We have the test data for this this script. We are going to save it. It's going to be called data.csv. Okay. There you go. We have the file data CSV. So we are going to enable the thread, this thread, we are going to click on the right button, add config element and CSV dataset config. We're going to put it at the very top. And the file name is data.csv. File encoding is regular format, Unix format. First, we have username, then password, then user. It's username. Oh, let me double check. First name. We have first name, last name, address 1, address 2. Or we can put address on zip. Okay, there you go. Now we have delimited the number of the parameters. This is how it's going to be grabbed from each row. So we're going to grab the data in this order because that's how we set up it. Now let's see. Firstly, I need to sign up. So here I need to put the username. I need to put in here the password. Okay. And the payment details, I need to put first name, last name, address zip. I'm going to use also the first name and last name to set up the name of the first passenger. Okay. And credit cards, it could be the same. This data could be the same. It doesn't matter. So now let's execute it. I'm going to execute just one iteration. So it's going to grab by order, because when we grab the data from CSV data file, it's going to be in order. Unfortunately, here we don't have like go to the row number 500, 501 or random row. We grab the data from in order. That's why sometimes I prefer to set up the data, because if I know that the data is from load user 1 to load user 20, I can do a random I could set up a random variable and use a random value like username 18 and use that one for load test. But now that will be seen in further chapters. Right now, not. Okay, I don't want to make you noise. Okay, let's execute it. So now I'm going to log in, and I'm going to log in. Oh, the assertion. We need to disable the assertion, or probably just put that we're going to look for load user. That's correct. Load user. If we are going looking for load user, it's going to be fine. Okay, it seems to be working. We enter it with load user. Load user number 1 should have right now one flight reserve. That's correct, from San Francisco to Sydney. 8 coach ticket class. And spend $5,560. Okay, so we are cool when we now have this data configured in here. I'm just going to do a small change. I'm going to use a logic controller named random controller. If you take a look, the flow, the main flow is the same for all of them. So what I'm going to do is create a different flows for. One is going to be for pay by a ticket. So buy a ticket will involve all of them. I'm going to copy paste and create find a flight that is going to only to go in these steps. What else? Find a flight. Reserve. Let's create one that click on reserve, but it doesn't pay. Okay, now reserve a flight. Okay, awesome. And finally, what's the one that we were just doing right now? It's sign up. So I have the different flows in one thread. So I'm going to execute it. Let's see which flow is going to be executed. With this random controller, I don't need to care about. It's going to execute one of the different controllers in the iteration. It seems that, okay, wait 1 second. It seems that the IP address changed. Yes, 31. Okay. So in this time, which one was the main flow? It make login, final flight, reserve a flight, and logout. It make this one. Okay. Why? Because not all the users are going to buy a flight. Some are going to reserve, some are going to find, and some of the users are going to sign up. Right now, I'm giving 25% to each one because it's equal. The random is equal. It means that it's going to split into the different values, set of values. It's an equal random, so that's why it's 25 per each one. If you don't like to use the random controller, you can set up another controller that is drop controller, and you can tell it into the throughput controller total number of execution or percent of executions, like 25%, and it's going to use from the total, it's going to execute 25% times that flow. We are going to see it later, but it's something that you can use. Well, we have everything set. We're going to execute some load test. We're going to execute it fairly with 5 virtual users. The random period, ramp-up period, is going to be 5 seconds. That means that each second is going to ramp up 1 user. 1 user each seconds, what it means 5 seconds, I will have all my 5 users ramping up. How many loops? We're going to execute 5 loops. 5 loops per thread. It means that it will be 5 per 5. It's going to be 25 in total. Okay? Now let's execute it. This listener is going to be used for executing, but is a view results tree. I'm going to add another listener that it's summary report. I like more summary report than aggregate report. It's pretty much the same, but I like more the summary report. Why? Because the aggregate report has the 90 percentile, 25%, and 99% line, which I mean, it's only if the client requires it, because, or if you're going to do some strong or deep analysis. If you're not going to do that, just use the summary report, which is pretty much simpler. And I'm going to copy the view results tree. We're going to have 2. And I'm going to enable only for errors. Only errors are going to display here. And I'm going to disable the one that shows me all the requests and transactions. So at the end, what I'm going to have is, on this execution, is only errors here, and in the summary report I will have my data of executions. Nice, isn't it? Sometimes people, or well, it depends on what you are going to show or report. Sometimes I like to show this in fancy Excel dashboards or graphs. So I remove the numbers at the beginning of the request, so they will be pulled into a summary. Like, let me show you. Like, for example, web tours. This, I'm going to remove this one. We have it at the beginning because that was the order that gave us when we recorded it. But if you remove it, I'm going to remove it only from this one and copy and paste it pretty quickly. Okay. Okay. Final flight. The first two. Final flight. The first three. Sign up. It's new one. I'm going to delete the enumeration. Okay, we're almost there. I think that the execution has already ended. Yes, it has already ended. Okay. If you take a look in here, we see that we're executing 0 of 5 users. The top moment it has 5 users. The execution took 47 seconds. It was pretty fast. I'm going to give it some more timing in the uniform random timer or team timing. No errors, which is great. And in the summary report, we have all the data about the execution. So if we execute it once again, we are going to have almost of the data summarized with this enhancement that we executed, or we have already made it. So I think that we are pretty nice for the moment. We have nice script. We have a nice summary. So we're going to execute more virtual users. If the last took 47 seconds and we increase the team time almost to the double, I'm expecting that this execution is going to take about 1 minute and probably 30 seconds, something around it. It depends on the response time, but the response time are in the order of 66 milliseconds or 220 per transaction, which is pretty low. So I don't think, well, it ended pretty fast. Remember that this is a random. We have constant 500 milliseconds, but this is random though, so probably that's why it didn't take much more time. Okay, so we have now this execution. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it as 5 users so we can compare it later. Now let's add more users. Now execute 10 users with a ramp up of 10 seconds. The same number of iterations, 5. We're going to execute now 50 iterations. There is one value that is going to become take a deep look. Well, this is only for the application. Take a deep look of itinerary. Right now it's in 218 milliseconds. This is going to be wider. Why? Because each time we are going to reserve more and more flights, and reserving more and more flights is going to take more time to grab or to show all of them in the response. Probably not the response, but which by sure is going to be wider. It's the average bytes. It's going to become wider and wider or bigger. You can see it's going to change more and more and more because it's going to have more and more flights. But this is only in the application. Take a deep look in your application behaviors. Probably you will find some behaviors like this one that shows you that you are in the correct way. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for today, guys. We can once again, it's ramping down. When the button became gray, it's finished. I'm going to save it as 5 MB users, and now let's execute it at the end with 20 users in 20 seconds. I'm going to click on this delay thread until creation needed, because this is a very fancy option that it probably in this moment is not going to do much because it's 20 virtual users, but when we're going to execute 500, 1000, 2000 virtual users, it's a nice to have, because not all the resources are going to be like reserved at the beginning. It's going to be smoothly consuming the resources. Okay, so we have now 20 virtual users running. We can see them in here, it's ramping up. Now we are in a steady state at 21 seconds. We'll start 20 steady state. Probably this time it's going to take more than 2 minutes, or probably around 2 minutes. And then it's going to slowly ramping down. Okay, if you take a look in the itinerary now, we are in the 6 kb, 6.8, 7K, 7.2K, 7.3, 7.4. It's ramping down. It's done, 0 errors, which is great. And we can save it, this one, for 20 users. And now that you have this information, I'm going to upload this script also to the YouTube link, and you can execute it by your own. And I'm going to upload the CSV, the table data, so you can compare from one execution to the other ones. Things like response time, if it's becoming higher, the response time, which I think that it's pretty clear that we are going to, if we add more users, we're consuming more resources, response time are going to become higher. But probably not. I don't know. We need to dig into the results to determine if that's what I'm saying is true or not. Thank you, guys. And the next video is going to execute. We're going to execute this same script, but in non-GUI with 50 users and 100 users, and we're going to graph the results. Okay? Stay tuned. Bye-bye.